Hello, welcome back. It's so good to see you. So, today we're going to be talking about what I have been watching for the month of October. October. So, as usual, I have my notes over here so that I don't forget what I'm talking about. I watched some movies and shows and one documentary this month, so it's a good variety. But let's go ahead and get into it. Hold on, before we get into it, just let me let you know that there may be background noise in this video and all the videos to come, okay? Because everybody on my street is getting their roofs redone from the hurricane this summer. It's still happening. Still. Every day there's a new shingle delivery. And today it's the house across the street. They are working on it right now, but I'm hoping that it's muffled and you can't hear it. Because right now I don't hear anything, but they're taking the shingles off. Pretty soon they'll be putting new shingles on, and that's when the loud noise is going to be. So hopefully I can get this video done before they start that. But like 3 other houses got shingles delivered, so there's going to be noise like in every video in the next 2 weeks, I'm telling you. Oh, I'm so done with it. But anyway, let's get into this video and hopefully no background noise, okay? Okay, so the first thing that I watched, pretty sure every single person in the world has watched by now. It came out in September, but I was busy, so I didn't watch it in September. I watched it in October. It is, it's part of the franchise, but it's like an anthology thing. But it's Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story. It's on Netflix. This is season 2. The first one was the Jeffrey Dahmer story. This is the Lyle and Eric Menendez story. It is on Netflix. I kind of understand the ratings, but I kind of don't. Rotten Tomatoes score is 45. Audience score is 53. What? Okay, so it stars Cooper Koch and Nicholas Chavez. Okay, so obviously it is the Lyle and Eric Menendez story. And if you don't know, in 1989, I believe, these 2 brothers shot and killed their parents with actual, like, shotguns. And it's just their story. This was a very uncomfortable show to watch. I was very much looking forward to it because I love the monster anthology, and I have always been very interested in the Menendez story. Okay, I know it happened when I was like very, very little, but I like true crime, and I've never touched their story on my channel for obvious reasons. It's okay, so I'm not giving any spoilers away because this has been happening. Their story has been out there since 1989, right? They killed their parents with shotguns, and at first they were like, oh my gosh, it was the mafia, because what's his name? Jose Menendez, he was involved in some shady business, but also he was like the head of a music thing. I don't know. So they tried to claim that, oh, it was the mafia, but then one of the brothers confessed to his therapist, and everything went downhill from there. They were obviously arrested, and At first they were like, no, we didn't do it. And then they were like, yeah, we did do it, but we did it for a reason. And they were mentally, physically, sexually tortured and abused. And they were scared for their lives. I liked the show, but I didn't like the show, and I think maybe that's why the reviews were like, eh. It's because it's very uncomfortable. It's a very uncomfortable show because of everything that they went through. But also, a lot of people are on the fence. They're like, they deserve to die in prison, and other people are like, no, they don't. No, they don't. It just depends on if you believe them or not. And I think I don't know. I don't want to start any arguments or anything like that, but I personally believe them. And it's very contradictory because they killed their parents, but they also love their parents so much. But when you grow up in a situation like that, and it's almost like Stockholm syndrome type of thing, you know what I mean? They love their parents so very much, but they also were terrified of them, and whatever, I'm not going to get into it. I'm still watching it. I watched it one time, and then I watched the documentary, the Menendez brothers documentary that also came out on Netflix this month. I didn't get the Rotten Tomatoes score on that, just because, I mean, nothing has really changed. I thought it was going to be like a big deal because they were like, wow, after like 20 years or whatever, or 30 years or something, they're finally going to be talking about it and stuff. But like, you didn't get to see them. You got to hear audio tapes from phone calls, and their story hasn't changed. Their story has not changed, and it was a good documentary. But after I watched the documentary, I was like, you know what? I need to watch the show again. And my feelings have not changed. I side with them, and I believe that if they are telling the truth, their parents got exactly what they deserved. They actually deserved much more pain and torture. What I didn't like about the show was they dramatized a lot of things. They put things in there that never happened in real life. They excluded very important details. And I don't know, there were just some weird things that I did not like. Like, there were certain points where it felt very incestuous between the brothers, and that ain't true. That's not true. And I don't know why that was put in there like that. I don't know. But don't judge the story based on this show, because it's a dramatization. A lot of things are false. A lot of things didn't get put in there, which I don't know why they excluded them. Don't judge the story based off of this show. Go watch the actual court case, because you can go to YouTube. You can watch the entire trial, watch the documentaries. Like, I don't know. Also, what made me mad, not about the show, but I feel like a lot of people didn't take the show as seriously as it needed to be taken. Because if you go on TikTok, there are so many people that thought that this was a comedy, that it was funny. And I'm like, do you not realize what you're watching? Like, there was a scene where Lyle's wig or toupee or whatever it was called, hairpiece, was ripped off by his mother. And this happened in real life. I don't want to go into the details of why and like whatever. But people made TikTok saying this is the funniest thing they've ever seen, and like they thought it was a joke, and like, why would they put this in here? It wasn't a joke. It's not funny. It's actually traumatizing and terrible. And I don't know. I just feel like people need to take this story seriously, because this stuff happened, It's not funny, and I was real mad about it. I'm still mad about it. But I think it got bad scores because it's uncomfortable and it's not entirely accurate. I don't know. Or people hate them and they're like, they deserve to die. They deserve to be rot in prison, So why make a show about them? I don't know. I must have liked it because I'm watching it again. I watched it the first time just, to watch it. Then I watched the documentary. Then I watched it again to really absorb everything. And now I'm watching it again because I want my husband to watch it so that we can talk about it. Anyway, moving on. The next thing that I watched was a movie. And this movie, I don't want to say it's old, but it's not new. It came out in 2017. But I just now found out about it. It is on Hulu, and it is a movie called Villains. You can also watch it on Peacock as well. Rotten Tomatoes score gave it an 87. Audience score gave it a 77. It stars Bill Skarsgård, Kira Sedgwick, Jeffrey Donovan, and some other person, but I forgot to write their name down. I'm sorry. Okay, so I don't know how I didn't know about this movie. I actually really loved this movie, and I'll probably watch it again at some point because I want my husband to watch it. Okay, so Bill Skarsgård and the other person that I didn't write their name down. They are these really young, stupid, criminals. Real dumb. Comically dumb. They they commit a robbery at the very beginning of the thing, and they take all this money, and then they get their getaway car and drive away, right? Well, being the stupid criminals that they are, they forgot to get gas, and their car runs out of gas, and this is as they're running away from the scene of a crime. So they're like, what do we do? They are kind of freaking out, and then they see a house off to the side, and they're like, hey, that house is kind of hidden off to the side a bit. Let's go break into that house and steal their car, or see if they have gas, and then we're home free, right? So they break into the house, and they're looking for car keys because there was a car in the garage. They're looking for the car keys, and they can't find them. And I think the basement is locked, or I don't know, something's up with the basement. They're like, well, let's go down to the basement and see if something's there. Keys would be in the basement. What? Maybe they were looking for a gas can down there or something. I don't know. They go down to this basement, and there is a young girl. She's probably 8. I think 8. ish would be around the right age. She is chained and locked in the basement. And they're like, what the hell? What is going on? So they're like, well, now we have to save this girl, you know. And then the homeowners come home. And that is Kara Sedgwick and Jeffrey Donovan. And they seem like real nice people. But they're not. And these dumb criminals, they like broke into a house thinking it's all innocent, and they broke into the wrong house because this house has very dark secrets. Okay. And the dumb criminals have a gun. They do. So they're not defenseless. But this couple, they sit down and are like, let's have a conversation. You know, like, you're criminals, obviously. And we have a girl locked in our basement. So we can just let you go and not report anything, and everything's cool. And they're like, no, screw you. You have a girl in your basement. We're going to call the cops. Like, blah. And they're like, yeah, but I'm pretty sure I heard that there was a robbery. And that was probably you guys, right? Anyway, so they're both kind of like stuck in this situation. And then things go downhill from there. Because while they were sitting, having a conversation, he was like, let's have a drink. So they had a drink, but their drink was poisoned or something. Not poisoned, but drugged. And next thing you know, they wake up. Bill Skarsgård is tied up to a bed, and the girl is, I think, tied in the basement with the little girl. And crazy, weird, freaky things happen. It's very scary, intense, unpredictable, and the acting is fantastic. And like, I did not know where this movie was going at all, and it was really, really good. I liked it. So I highly recommend it. It is older, but like, you wouldn't be able to tell, you know. It's real good. Okay, the next thing that I watched, it was a show. Okay, now this show, you can watch it on Paramount Plus, because I believe it's a Paramount Plus original, but you can also watch it on Netflix. This show came out over a year ago, and I had kept putting it off, and then I was just like, nah, what is this show about? Because I kept seeing it continually being recommended to me. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna watch it. So this show is called School Spirits. Rotten Tomatoes score gave it an 83%. Audience score gave it an 89%. I agree. It's fantastic. And it stars Peyton List, which is why I watched it, because she is the cute girl. I think her name is actually Emma on Jessie. If you've ever seen that show Jessie from the Disney Channel. Yeah, I used to watch that because I got kids and stuff, you know, so. But I really liked her in the show. She's not like Emma of Jessie. Nope. She's completely different. It also stars Spencer McPherson and like a ton of people. Now when I kept pushing it off because I was like, it feels like it's gonna be like a teen show, which it kind of is, but not really. It has teenagers in it, but it, and like, yeah, I guess younger people would enjoy it, but I really liked it. And I usually hate teenage shows. I don't think it's because it's a teenage show. It's so good. Okay, so this teen girl, I think she's like 17, something like that. I believe she was in her senior year of high school. She goes missing. The show actually starts out in like this gymnasium, and this girl is sitting at like one of the top of the bleachers or something, and she's overlooking, like, I don't think it's like a memorial. I think it's like if you've seen this person, you know, whatever, but the whole school is in there, and you the camera like scans up and they show a picture of the girl that's missing, and it's her, and you're like, what? Because she's right there. Well, this girl is dead, okay, and her spirit is stuck at the school, because if you die on the school property, I guess sometimes not, your spirit gets stuck on the school property. Can you imagine being stuck in high school for eternity? Gross. And then having to watch like your own, not like memorial, but like they had a vigil and stuff, and I don't know, it was just ugh. But this show kind of reminds me of the show that's on CBS called Ghosts, except Ghosts is a like 30-minute sitcom comedy type thing, and this is not. This is like an hour long each episode, and it's not a comedy. It's very dark and mysterious, and I don't want to say scary, but it gets very intense, and you're like, what is going on? There are other ghosts in the school, high school students. There's like a guidance counselor, like teachers that have died, students that have died, and this school is quite old, so there are some very old spirits there. But the guidance counselor, he tries to like have a weekly group therapy for the ghosts, you know, to work through their traumas and, you know, stuff like that. And so one of the ghosts tries to make her come to the therapy thing, and she's like, fine. So she goes, and they're like, okay, so what's your story? And she's like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, we all have a story, like our death story, what happened to us. And she has no memory of what has happened to her. Like, her memory has just been wiped. She has no idea how she died, what happened, you know. And she finds out through, you know, stuff that goes on in school and like whatever. Her body is missing, but something happened to her down, I think it's in the school basement or something. It's like where the boiler room is. I don't know, but you could tell that her head was smashed into this thing, and her blood is there, and you know, but her body is missing. So somebody has done something with her body, but that's where she died, right there, because if she tries to leave the school property, your body just goes right back to the spot where you died. So one of the dead ghosts tries to help her, you know, try and remember and stuff like that, and she's just real sad. And like the night of the vigil, one of her best friends, he stays back in a classroom, and she's in the classroom with him, and he's looking out of the window, and he's just like, I miss you, and like, because he feels like he can't move on without her, you know. And she starts like talking to him, even though like no one can see the ghost or anything like that. She still talks to him. And in that moment, he's so emotional or whatever. I think the veil, is that what it's called, comes down and he can see her. And she's like, oh my God, you can see me. Wow. He's the only one who can see her. And he can't see any of the other ghosts. I think it's just because their bond was so strong or something. I don't know. So she has these ghosts and she has her friend, and they're trying to solve her murder, find out what happened to her, how it happened, who killed her, that kind of thing. And it's about that, but it's also about the other ghosts, and you find out about their lives, and it's like, it's actually really kind of sad. It's so sad, but also really, really good. Really good. And there is going to be a second season. I'm glad I waited to watch it, because the second season isn't coming out until 2025, like summer of 2025. So I still have to wait quite a long time to see the movie or the second season. But they leave you hanging. You find something out and you're just like, jaw is on the floor. Like, what? And then credits. And it's like, no. But it's totally worth it. So good. So good. Okay. The next thing that I watched was a movie. It is on Hulu. And it got crappy scores. Like almost everything that I watched got crappy scores. I don't understand. The only two things that didn't get crappy scores was Villains and School Spirits. But everything else is pretty good. So I don't understand. I don't understand the crappy scores. But this is a movie on Hulu. It is called Hold Your Breath. And Rotten Tomato score gave it a 43%. Audience score gave it a 52%. And it stars Sarah Paulson, which is the whole reason that I watched it. My husband watched it as well because he's in love with Sarah Paulson. And it's like, who isn't in love with Sarah Paulson? She's amazing. I'm in love with Sarah Paulson. She's fantastic. I don't know any of the other people in the movie, but it doesn't matter because it's got Sarah Paulson in it, right? Okay, so it kind of gave me, there was a book that I read over the summer by Kristen Hanna, and I can't think of the name of the book, but it was about, I wish I had my books in here. It was about the Dust Bowl. The Four Winds. That's what it's called. The Four Winds. So this movie is about the Dust Bowl in Oklahoma, 1930s, Depression, that kind of thing. So I felt like I already knew everything about this environment because I read that book, you know. And this is supposed to be, I don't know if it's like a horror or scary. I think it's supposed to be scary. I found it not scary. I found it more creepy and mysterious. Not scary, not horror. I don't know. But anyway, so Sarah Paulson is a mom. She has 2 kids. I think she might have, she actually had 3 kids, but one of them died. And her husband left. He didn't leave the family, but he left because there was no more money to be made in that area. So he left to go work on the railroad or something back east, or maybe I don't really remember where, but he's gone. He's working on the railroad and sending money home for the family. So everything sucks. Everything sucks. If you've read that book, The Four Winds, you know. But it's the Depression. It's the Dust Bowl. There's no food. There's no water. There's no money. There's no nothing. Animals are dying. People are dying. It just sucks. It sucks, okay? And people are starting to go crazy. like, I don't know why they're going crazy, but I mean, I guess it's just like the circumstances, everything just sucks. And like every night, every day, they have to clean their house because dust gets in. Like, there's just a layer of dust on everything at all times, so you're constantly cleaning and washing, and it's just awful, 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 awful. And every night, Sarah Paulson has to put like little fabric pieces and stuff, because the houses in the 30s were not sealed, like houses are now. If the wind blows, air is coming through your windows, even if they're not open. The seals in between the windows and the door frames, and like there are cracks in the walls, and I would not like this time because I'd be thinking about bugs and just ugh, but every night before her kids go to bed or whatever, she seals up all the little cracks the best she can with like little pieces of fabric and paper and just whatever she can. And then she puts her kids, sorry, I'm tired. She puts her kids in a room and tells them, lock the door behind me. And you're like, what the hell? Because she does this every night. And it's like, what? It's because Sarah Paulson has like sleeping issues, and so she has to take these sleeping pills. But she has had issues in the past of waking up in the middle of the night and sleepwalking and all kinds of stuff. And I don't know if it had something to do with the death of one of her kids or what. I don't know how her first kid died. I cannot remember. I don't know if they even mention it, but so you're kind of like, why does she do that? What has she done in her sleep? But she takes these sleeping pills so that she doesn't sleepwalk and do crazy things. Okay. And like, I think her sister-in-law or something goes crazy and her kids get taken away and she's just having a rough time, and then there's this mysterious, like, oh my gosh, there was this, I don't want to say hitchhiker because it wasn't hitchhiking back then, but drifter, maybe that was the word. There was this drifter that came in and killed a whole family and stuff like that, and then they're like, well, was it the drifter or was it the mom killing the kids? And I don't know, it's just scary stories going on during a scary time, And then there is a drifter that is hiding in Sarah Paulson's barn. And she's like, what the hell? But he is a friend of her husband's or something, so she takes him in, helps him, he helps around the farm, all this stuff, and then stuff starts going crazy, and people are starting to think that there is something evil in the air, and stuff just goes crazy. It's very, to me, it was kind of unpredictable because I was like, what is going on? What is happening? I liked it. My husband liked it. We thought it was going to be scary. Wasn't scary. So if you're going into the movie thinking, oh, it's going to be scary, no, it's more creepy and mysterious. And then when it's over, you're just like, okay, what's next? Like, I don't think I would ever watch it again. Maybe that's why it didn't get such good reviews. I don't know. But Sarah Paulson, fantastic in it. Love her. Okay, the next thing that I watched was a movie on Max, and it is called Salem's Lot, Rotten Tomato score gave it a 47%. Audience score gave it a 40%. What? Me and my husband really, really liked it. We thought it was creepy. We thought it was scary. It was intense. Like, we really enjoyed this movie, like, so much. Afterwards, I was like, ooh, what's the Rotten Tomato score? And I read these and I was like, what? The reason that it got really bad scores was because I didn't know this, but Salem Slot has been remade multiple times. And it was also like a little mini series, like way back in the day. So there was a mini series and then like a movie way back in the day, and then they remade it. I've never seen any of them. I didn't know. But if you have seen the original miniseries or the original movie, those apparently were like fantastic and so much amazing. And then this, compared to that, apparently is not good. So I guess if you liked those, you're not gonna like this one. If you've never seen those, you're gonna like this one. It was really good and super creepy, I thought. And my husband, he really enjoyed it as well. Oh, I didn't even put who it stars. I don't know. I didn't know anybody in the movie. Not a single person in the movie. I had no idea. So, sorry, actors. So what is it about? All right. So this writer, returns to his hometown. He used to live in Salem's Lot, which it's not even actually Salem's Lot. It's called Jerusalem's Lot. But the first part of the word is like on the sign of the city is kind of like faded, so it just looks like Salem's Lot. But there was this kid who lived there like many years ago. I think this movie is actually set in the 80s. But anyway, so this writer, he lived in this town in Salem's Lot when he was a kid, and then he moved away. I think his parents died or something, and he moved away to live with other family members or something, and he wanted to move back just for a little bit, because he was looking for inspiration to write. And after he shows up, all of a sudden, like, a boy goes missing, and then another person dies mysteriously, and then more people go missing and more people are dying, and like a lot of the locals are like, oh, you did it, you're here, and he's just like, what the hell? Anyway, it sounds stupid. It really does. It sounds stupid, but the movie just works for, like, I thought, and it was really creepy. But eventually you find out that this town is being preyed upon by a vampire. I know, another vampire movie, right? But it was really good, and it like had that classic creepy vibe to it, like it felt very old school horror movie. But it was really good, and like it scared me like real bad. Like real bad. We watched it late at night, and then I always take Ava out to go potty before we go to bed, and I was like, you're coming with me. I made my husband go out there with me because I was too scared. Because it was all dark and scary, and this movie is very dark and scary. Everything comes out at night, and it's very creepy. And there are kids in it, and kids are just scary. They just are. But finally, there is a person in a scary movie that actually has a brain. Finally. And it just so happens to be a kid. And I'm like, this kid is the most badass kid. Like, no way this character would be real. But I'm just so glad that they finally made a character in a horror film that has a brain and that doesn't make stupid decisions, Finally. Okay, the next thing that I watched was also on Max. And it is called The Watchers. It's a movie. There is a show on Netflix called The Watcher. It's not that. This is a movie called The Watchers. Rotten Tomatoes score give it a 31%. Audience score give it a 51%. It was good. It wasn't great. It was good. It stars Dakota Fanning, which is the whole reason that I wanted to watch it, and Georgina Campbell and other people. I don't know them. But the reason that we wanted to watch it was because Dakota Fanning, and it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie, so, But I was, like, very iffy because lately, to me, his movies have been, like, hit or miss, Like, I was so disappointed with that movie, Old. Ugh. So disappointed. Anyway, so I didn't have high hopes for this, but it was quite creepy and scary. So this woman, Dakota Fanning, I don't know. Sorry. I don't know if she's like an artist or I don't remember, but she has to deliver something. I think she has to deliver a bird or something. I don't know. She has to deliver a bird to some client or something. And it's like real far in like the forest of Ireland or something. And she gets lost. Like she loses radio signal. Her car breaks down in the middle of a forest. Okay, like the deep, dark forest. And she is trying to get cell phone reception. No, nothing. And she's looking for a way out. She gets out and she's like, hello, help, whatever. She starts walking through the forest and she's like, this is not the way to go. Let me go back to the car. I'll walk back the way that I came. Except when she walks back, there's no car. No car. She has entered another dimension or something. It's the same forest, but it's not the same forest, right? Like there's no car. She has no idea where she's at. There's no way out. And she's starting to get like scared because she can hear something out there and it sounds like it's following her or something. And she's like, what the hell? So she's walking away. And then she sees this lady, this older, like, creepy lady. And she's like, follow me if you want to live. And she's like, what the hell? And the lady starts running. And she sees this, I don't want to say, like, house. It's not a house, but it's like this concrete shelter type thing. And the lady is waiting there. And she's like, run. And the sun is going down and Dakota Fanning can hear stuff and it's like, what the hell? Okay, so she runs and she makes it to this shelter. They shut the door and there are other people in there. I think there's like maybe 2 or 3 other people. I don't remember. She's like, what is going on? What is going on? And they lock the door, and one wall of the shelter is complete glass. And she's like, okay, we have to stand in front of this glass, and you have to let them see you. And she's like, what? And they're like, do it fast, because as soon as the sun goes down, they have to stand and be judged. I don't know if they're judged or what, but they have to stand there and be watched. Because something watches them every single night. Every single night. And if you put your back to that glass wall, they get mad and they start banging on the wall and stuff. You can't see out, but they can see you. Very strange. But whatever's out there is very big, and there's a lot of them, and they're mysterious and scary. And during the daytime, they go into these like caves or something, and they sleep during the daytime. But they like to watch the little people at night. So it's very strange. But in this shelter, there is a TV, but I think it plays like old reruns of something, but it's the same thing over and over and over. There's a table. I think there's a chess thing on the table. There's a couch. I don't know. Anyway, but so that happens. And then the next day she's like, what the hell? We got to get out of here. And she's like, yeah, there's no way out. We've mapped the whole thing. You can only go a certain distance before you have to come back, because when the sun goes down, you know, they come out, and if you're out there, they'll eat you or they'll kill you or something. I don't know what they'll do, but you die. And she's just like, what? And there are all these rules that she has to follow, and she's like secretly like, screw these rules, you know. But she breaks a rule, they find out, and they get furious. The big things that are out there. It's really, really creepy. And it's just kind of like that, you know. It just repeats every night. And then she's just like, I'm tired of this, you know, like, what is going on? And something, I don't know if she gets into a fight with someone or what, but something gets knocked over, and there's a rug in the room, and the rug gets moved or something, and they find that there is a trapdoor in the floor. And then things get crazy. This is another movie that is very unpredictable. I had no idea where it was going. So I was actually like glued to it. Creepy. I did like it. I liked the movie. But I feel like the movie should have ended 15 minutes before it did. Because you get to a point in the movie where you're like, okay, this is a good movie. And then it keeps going, and you're like, what? And the part where it keeps going, it's like none of that, all that should have just been erased. Like, none of that was necessary. It actually made the movie worse. The movie was great all the way up until a certain point, and then you're like, this is a good movie. I like this movie. And you're thinking you're going to see credits, and then you don't. And then that last 15 minutes makes you hate the movie. So if you watch the movie, you will know exactly what I'm talking about, and I'm pretty sure you'll agree. All that stuff after that one thing that happens is like, why? None of it was necessary, and it actually made everything else stupid. No. So maybe stop the movie when you think, the movie's ended and I liked it, so that you don't be disappointed. Anyway, so those are all the things that I watched this month. There are some things that came out this month that I'm still watching, but I don't want to tell you about it until it's over. So I'll talk about it next month. But anyway, I really hope that you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.